I built a greenhouse for the BOTANIA mod. This mod adds a mana system where you will collect magic from different plants and spend it on different crafting and trading mechanics. There is a lot to get into this mod, so I will only scratch the surface today. I want to start gathering mana, set up the apothecary, and the runic table. I'll craft some basic tools and materials and build out the greenhouse as a place to work on the basics of BOTANIA. Let's get started with the greenhouse build. I am using stone, dark oak, acacia, and diorite for the palette on this build, and I started things off with a basic rectangle frame with lots of windows. I went with a long rounded shape for the roof with the peaks sticking out a little bit. Then I added the glass and a few more details to finish up the outside of the build. It's pretty simple, but I'm happy with how it came out. The main structure is all finished. It looks super empty though, so that means I gotta do the interior, which I got some ideas for, and I'm pretty excited to put together. I've put together a big bag of stuff for me to use, and it's pretty much all of the vanilla crops and plants and things. And then I have some bridges and different things to kind of make this space a little unique. And I also want to fill it up with a couple different components from BOTANIA, and I'm also going to use a couple of botany pots. I'm going to start by building a little walkway around the edges, and that'll give just a kind of sort of treehouse feeling where you can walk around and there's gonna be leaves hanging down. And this will also give me a little bit of space to do some functional things in the corners. That'll just make working with BOTANIA a little bit easier. All right, there we go. It still looks pretty empty in here, so let's go ahead and throw some leaves up on these wood logs. All right, now it's starting to come to life a little bit. Next, I'm gonna add a few gardens in the corners where I can plant the flowers from BOTANIA, and I'm also gonna add some tables around the room. Just give myself a little bit of workspace and kind of fill out the area a little bit more. Throw in a few rugs, and we'll add in a few plants as well. And I don't know what mod lets me do this, but I can actually hang the pots from the ceiling to get some little hanging flowers. There's also these cool little clipboards from Create that I can put around, kind of make it look like I'm working on stuff, which I'm not, but you know, you got to make it look like you're keeping busy, right? And then Supplementaries adds these flower boxes, which just are a perfect little addition to the walls. All right, now let's take a step back, and it's starting to feel alive in here. Now, obviously, there's still some open space, so I need to fill that up, but that's going to be with BOTANIA stuff. So I need to unlock the mod real quick. BOTANIA is going to cost me 18 research points, and I also want to unlock Botany Pot, which is going to cost another 28. The only reason that Botany Pots cost more is because I've unlocked other mods in that category, so it's hiked up the price a bit. So that's going to be 46 research points total. Oh my god, that's ridiculous. It's so many. Oh, I've never had that much. And it's all going away immediately. Sweet. Now I can make myself an apothecary. The apothecary, put some water in there, and this will be the first crafting mechanic in BOTANIA. The apothecary doesn't take any mana. It's actually going to be the thing we use to create the flowers that produce mana. The first flower I want to create is a pure daisy. So I'm going to need some Larimar and some chromatic steel and a few white petals. You can get white petals by finding mystical white flowers around the world. You craft those into white petals. You can then plant those petals and bone meal them, and they're going to give you the big version. Break those down, and each one of those will give you 4 petals. And then to make the flowers, we can throw all the materials into the apothecary. It's going to ask for one more item. This time it's seeds. Throw that in, and it gives me the pure daisy. Now this flower will let me make living wood and living rock, which I need to make the wand of the forest and the runic altar. Both living wood and living rock will be made by surrounding the pure daisy with the material you want to convert. It'll start sparkling, and after a couple minutes, it'll transform into the living version. The wand of the forest is a little expensive. I'll need 3 living wood twigs, which takes 2 logs each, and then just some Larimar, a piece of driftwood, and a pink petal block. Now this wand will be one of our main tools for using BOTANIA. We use it to switch the different functions on different blocks, but we'll get to that in a little bit. The next flower I'm going to make is an endo flame. I'll need 1 gray petal, 1 red, and 2 brown. And I actually want 8 15 endoflames. And these flowers are gonna go right into the flower beds in the corners of the build. These flowers are gonna produce mana by burning things. And to collect the mana, I'm gonna need a mana spreader. And I'm gonna place these right in the corner above all of the flowers. If you shift right click, you can change the mode of your wand, and I'm gonna put it into bind mode. With the wand in bind mode, shift right click one of the flowers, and then shift right click the mana spreader, and that will link them. It'll give you a little check mark to let you know it linked successfully. Now when I throw some coal near the flowers, they're gonna start burning, and they'll send mana into the mana spreader. And you can see on the bar below that it's starting to fill up. But now I need a mana pool to collect the mana. Mana pools are pretty cheap, just a living rock brick and a piece of perfect Larimar. I'm gonna go ahead and make 2 for each side of the build. And there does need to be a clear path from the mana spreader to the mana pool so that the beam doesn't get blocked by anything and it can actually make its way and start filling up the pool. Alright, there we go. We got 2 mana spreaders on each side of the build, both filling up pools. And over time, those will slowly fill up. Each one can hold a ton of mana, so I don't know if I'm gonna need a lot more than this, at least in this build for now. I also added a redstone link system. This is a crate which automatically drops blocks. There's a hopper with coal leading into it. And then underneath here, when the coal drops onto the pressure plate, it'll activate this redstone link on the bottom, which powers this one up top. And that locks the hopper, preventing any more coal from dropping. I can refill the chests right up top here, and that'll automatically burn whatever materials I put into the input. And now that I have a good amount of mana, I can drop a vault diamond into the mana pool, and that'll give me back a mana diamond. Now I can combine that mana diamond with the mana pool, and it'll give me a runic altar. And this is going to be the centerpiece of my build. I'm going to do a little altar setup here, where I can have a little pool of water. I'm going to end up putting a grid here so I can access my full storage inventory. And this will just make a nice aesthetic spot for me to do my crafting with Botania. Alright, now it's really coming to life. Things are starting to actually operate. We've got mana filling up. I got both of my main crafting mechanics. Alright, let's check out the runic altar. The runic altar is going to be used to make runes. And runes are going to be high-level crafting materials. I'm going to start by just making a rune of water, but I'm not going to get into the advanced crafting stuff today because I need to make some botany pots. To make the rune of water, I'm going to need a fishing rod, some Larimar, some mana powder, which is redstone tossed in mana, a mana steel ingot, which is chromatic steel tossed in mana, and a mystical blue petal. Take all those materials, right click each one onto the runic altar. They're all gonna float around. And now I need to point my mana spreaders at the runic altar. Once it's finished, it'll start spitting off some lightning off the top. And what do I need to do? Just right click with, okay, put a block on top and then right click. And that's how you make runes. That's pretty much it for the basics of Botania. But now I need to make some botany pots so I can do some farming. Botany pots are pretty simple. There are regular botany pots, which you can put some dirt and some sort of crop into. The crops will grow right in the pot. And then with the regular botany pots, you're going to have to harvest it by hand by right clicking. But I want hopper botany pots, which are a whole lot more expensive. So I'm just going to make a few of them. Now when you open up the botany pot, there's going to be 12 slots, and that will automatically harvest itself and put the materials into that hopper there. Then I'm going to put some hoppers underneath all of the pots and send it into my main storage system. And that's pretty much it with botany pots. Alright, there are just a few more touches I want to do in here. A little bit more detailing, and there we go. It's got some more leaves on the ground, got some twigs scattered, a few more botany pots, and I feel like this greenhouse has really come to life. And now when we look at it from the outside, it actually looks like something's going on in there. It's not just a weird blank building with a bunch of windows on it. Alright, thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.